An Oklahoma teen just avoided jail time after he had 10 felony charges. This kid was accused and apparently, from what I understand, guilty of sexually assaulting multiple teenage girls. But because of who his daddy is, he's not going to jail. Let's get into this controversial story that a lot of people are talking about, folks. Oklahoma teen convicted of sexual assault avoids jail time, and it sparks protest at the court hearing. Let's go down into this here. A lot of people are upset about this. On Monday, the court determined that Jesse Butler is in compliance with the terms of his youthful offender agreement. This allows him to remain on probation. However, a judge warned him that if he violates that agreement, he'll go to prison for a very long time. Outside of Payne County Courthouse, protesters made the message clear: no jail, no justice. In March, following reports of assault by 2 high school students in Stillwater, police arrested Jesse Butler at his home, initially facing a 78-year sentence on multiple charges of sexual assault. Butler was granted youthful offender status. After a conviction in August, Butler, the son of a prominent family, was placed on probation, avoiding jail. This story has a lot of people talking. All I can continue to do is think about the victims, those girls that were hurt. And I do have a message for the moms as well, because I got to say something. The way his mother, we're going to get into it because Law and Crime got into some details. The way the mother just looked the other way. Just look the other way. And I got a message here, okay? For the moms that like to protect these boys, because, and some of you know what I'm talking about. There are some mothers who like to protect their sons, and they'll know their sons are doing wrong. They'll know their sons are hurting women, beating women, assaulting women. They'll know this, but they'll do what they can to protect them. And one of the ways that they do that is by looking the other way. Let's get into some of the more details here on Law and Crime. We're gonna start with the background, the history a little bit of the family, so that you guys understand. But this kid comes from a prominent family, and his daddy is big news.
So he attended Stillwater Public Schools, played for the high school baseball teams and other regional outfits. This is according to reporting from the Daily Mail. Stillwater is the home of Oklahoma State University, and Butler, by the way, comes from an influential sports family. The Daily Mail reports that his father, Mac Butler, was the OSU football team's director of operations from 2001 to 2004, and then again in 2009 until 2021. He was...
Pause. So his father was the football director of OSU, so Oklahoma State University. For those who have not lived in the South or the big sports states like I have, I got to tell you guys, in places like Oklahoma, Texas, the Carolinas, Georgia, that type of thing, football is God. Football, basketball, these college teams, it's everything there, everything. When I moved to North Carolina, I remember the first time when we moved there, they said, you have to pick one. Are you a Duke fan or are you a UNC fan? Duke or Tar Heels? And I was like, I don't like either of these teams. They were like, no, you got to pick one. So I'm here to tell you, in those areas, the football team, college football team, college basketball team, this is a big deal, especially in the states that don't have professional teams. And so much of a big deal that you cannot go up against these people. You cannot go up against the coaches, anybody that works for the team, the athletes. No, it's on lock. That's how bad it is. So they're not even professional athletes, but that's how big some of the college sports can be in some of these places. Let's continue on.
Then hired as the assistant athletics director for Stillwater Public Schools. Butler's mother, Jackie Butler, is a coordinator for Cowboy sports properties at OSU. This is again according to the Daily Mail. Family members of Butler's victims described him as seemingly like, quote, the perfect boyfriend when he dated their 16-year-old daughters. But these affidavits, they reveal that behind closed doors, Butler was essentially a violent predator who refused to be told no. I'm going to take a look at this paperwork, okay? Now, we're not going to be getting into some of the more graphic parts of the affidavits, but this will give you an idea of the grave seriousness of this case. Now, according to the first affidavit, a 16-year-old identified by her initials LS told a school resource officer in September of 2024 that she had dated Jesse Butler for a few months earlier in the year, and that during that time, he physically and sexually assaulted her multiple times, including trying to rape her inside his car outside of an ice cream shop the previous February.
Multiple times. And nothing was done. And now he's not even going to jail after 10 felony counts. This is insane.
The affidavit reads, LS reported she yelled and told him no repeatedly and tried to push him off of her, but was unable to overpower him. LS reported Butler told her he was sorry for what he had to do, but he had to do it. LS recalled hyperventilating because Butler intended to have sexual intercourse with her and she did not want to. Now, according to LS, a woman must have heard her screaming because she walked up to the car and interrupted them. LS told police that Butler told her that if the police came, they would both be in trouble. He reportedly took her back to his home where her car was parked and then tried to rape her again. The affidavit says LS told Butler she needed to get home, but Butler pulled her on top of him and told her, "You're not going until I'm finished." LS said she was eventually able to get out of the car and get home. Now, the victim told police that Butler forced her to perform oral sex on him in the parking lot of a Planet Fitness despite her saying no. And unbelievably, during the assault, the affidavit says that Butler took a call from his mom, told LS she had to be silent or he would hurt her. There's another assault that happened at Butler's home in what's referred to as a movie room. According to LS, she believes Butler's mom heard her crying and saying no as Butler tried to have sex with her. And she
pause right here. This is what I was talking about with the moms. Okay. You see, because down south, some of these like football moms and baseball moms and basketball moms, some of them will know that their son's doing dirty, but they will look the other way because they look at it as though, hey, that's my future professional baseball player. That's my future professional quarterback over there. I have seen these things happen where the mother will look the other way and run cover for the son, even though they know that they are hurting females. So everybody, a lot of times they point fingers at the dad. This is not just the dads. You got dads that look the other way too. But I'm talking about the moms. I'm talking about the women who sit up there and look the other way while their son hit, abuse other girls, sometimes in front of them. Now, this girl said that she was screaming and she know the mother heard her scream, but mom not come for help. So I do not believe, and I have to say this, I do not believe that the mom didn't know this about her son. I don't think this was a surprise thing here. I really don't. Moms be knowing. And then the question is, when you know, what do you do after you know? The test is to see, do you punish your son? Do you hold him accountable? Or do you turn your head and look the other way? Better not say anything because his daddy works for OSU football team. It's crazy, but it happens. We'll go back a little bit more where he said she thought the mom heard.
As Butler tried to have sex with her, and she apparently came to the door asking if everything was okay. But it seems that's as far as this mom's interaction went because the affidavit just says that Butler drove LS home at that point, except he didn't take her all the way home. No, he apparently parked nearby, tried to sexually assault her for nearly 2 hours. The affidavit says that when she finally managed to get to her house, he followed her and continued trying to assault her inside of the home. And the abuse just kept getting worse because according to LS, in late February of 2024, Butler reportedly strangled her because she refused to have sex with him.
So now also strangulation as well. That's how abusive this guy was. Guys, here's the thing. He's a teenager and he's already doing these things. What do you think happens when he becomes an adult? Knowing who his father is, knowing that he's been able to get away with this, and now he avoids jail time. What do you think is going to happen? No accountability. And sometimes with these athletes, and I've seen this, now this ain't all of them, but sometimes with these athletes, they get really big-headed. They know they're going places, maybe because of their skill or because of who they know, sometimes a little bit of both. And they think that they can get away with anything. This ain't the first case. This is one of the ones that you're hearing about. One of the ones you're hearing about. If we go back and we take a look at Aaron Hernandez's history before he came to the New England Patriots, Aaron Hernandez had a number of issues. That's why the other teams didn't want to take him. So when it was reported that Aaron Hernandez was arrested because they accused him of killing these guys in Boston, at first we were all surprised, but then when you learned about his history, kind of all made sense. They let him through anyway. We need him. He's great. He's going to be a great athlete, great star. They looked the other way. Someone mentioned in the chat, Ben Roethlisberger from the Pittsburgh Steelers. This been going on, guys. And what I'm telling you is a lot of these guys that you hear about when they're adults, when they're pro, they were already having this type of behavior when they were teenagers. They looked the other way. They had problems with Aaron Hernandez when he was in high school. There were problems with Aaron Hernandez when he was down in Florida, playing football with the Pouncey twins and Tim Tebow and all of them. Back when he was a Gator, Aaron Hernandez shot a guy in the face, and he still went on to become a New England Patriot. How'd that happen? Let's continue.
David says, quote, LS reported she was hyperventilating and then recalled her vision being blurry and she was dizzy. She reported her head immediately hurt and she was confused about what occurred. She was scared of Butler, but when she regained consciousness, Butler was laughing at her. Following this incident, LS reported she had a handprint and injury on her neck. Now, LS was examined by a sexual assault specialist, confirmed the teen had been a victim of sexual and physical abuse. This is according to the affidavit. I got to say, by the way, this is a prime example of what we try to do here on Sidebar. We're trying to understand the legal system. We're trying to understand the law. And I have to say, I am so happy that this show is sponsored by legal experts, Morgan & Morgan, right? This is America's Law for the People.
We're skipping the sponsors
of the relationship, and did so to prevent physical aggression from him. When KS told Butler he was hurting her, he did not care and would not stop. Because of his aggressiveness, she was scared to tell him to stop. She expressed she was scared not to do what he wanted because of how physically violent he had been with her. KS reported Butler had left bruises on her hips from squeezing her so tightly. KS reported the intercourse was extremely aggressive, but she reported she quickly stopped fighting it because Butler would overpower her and hurt her to get his way. KS.
This is so, it's, and some of this is hard to listen to, but this kid, get it right about here. This is the kid who just walked free. Just walked free. He's a violent person.
Butler also strangled KS, and so bad, so long, that she eventually passed out. She reported she woke up on the floor of the living room in a house where she was apparently house sitting, and she claims Butler was livid that she wouldn't have sex with him in someone else's home. But after strangling her, KS claims Butler raped her 3 or 4 times. Later that same week, KS reported that Butler strangled her again. And if it's possible to even believe this, it was an even sicker power play. The affidavit says KS stated Butler told her he wanted to strangle her so he could film it on his phone. And if you can believe it, police found that video on Butler's phone.
So there was video evidence. That's the part I wanted to get to, on his phone, and he just walked away free. And see, when people say, well, why didn't these women come forward sooner? This is why. Especially if it's someone that's in a powerful position or their parents are in a powerful position. This kid just walked away.
Which showed him choking KS until she passed out. What these girls went through, what they endured, is just unimaginable. But then you get to the consequences, and that too is seemingly unimaginable. Why? So Jesse Butler was charged in March of 2025 as an adult with 10 felony counts. We are talking rape. We are talking attempted rape, sexual battery, assault. He was later hit with an 11th charge when he apparently violated a protective order. He was facing almost 80 years in prison for these crimes. He ended up entering into a no contest plea, okay? This is where everything changes. This is where the shock comes when he entered that plea in August. His case had apparently been downgraded from adult court to youthful offender status. And because of that, he would spend no time behind bars. So instead of his 78-year prison sentence, that was deferred. It's deferred as long as he complies with his, quote, rehabilitation plan. According to News Nation, until his 19th birthday, Butler has to do these daily check-ins, these weekly counseling sessions. He has a curfew. He isn't allowed to be on social media. He has to complete 150 hours of community service. And if he does that, no prison time. The district attorney's office released this statement per the Daily Mail. The youthful offender sentence imposed against Jesse Butler requires him to complete his rehabilitation plan successfully, including an aggressive schedule of therapy with a specialist in sex offender treatment. And should he fail, he faces reclassification as an adult and a sentence of 10 years in prison.
This guy is a predator and a danger to women. And look at how easily he just gets off. This is what happens when your parents have money. This is what happens when your parents are prominent people. And I'm just thinking about those girls. They're never going to get over this. This is trauma. This is long-term trauma that they have to deal with for the rest of their lives. Now back to the mom. You know that your son produced a video of him strangling, choking his girlfriend at the time. Why are you still defending your son? When there is video evidence, why are you defending your son? And in some cases, it could be that the father has the same behavior towards the mother, and sometimes that's where the son gets it from. Either way, how you still defend him? And that's what I was saying before about some of these mothers. They just look the other way. Wait till you see the walkout video. Like I said, guys, people are up in arms about this case. This was him walking out of the court.
Jesse, why did you rape those girls, Jesse? Jesse, why did you rape the girls? You have anything to say to the victims, Jesse? You have anything to say to the victims? Being loud is not a violation. Sir, you have anything to say to the victims? You have anything to say to the victims, Jesse? Why did you rape them, Jesse? Why did you rape the victims, Jesse? Why did
See that? See, mama, hold on. Not a care in the world. Watch his face.
Victims. Being loud is not a violation. Sir, you have anything to say to the victims? You have anything to say to the victims, Jesse? Why did you rape them, Jesse?
That's what no accountability does. This is what happens when you know that you got it like that. You got privilege. You're not going to be held accountable. This is what that looks like. This guy don't have a care in the world. And the mama right behind him. And that, in my opinion, is part of the problem.
Why did you rape the victims, Jesse? Why did you rape those girls? Why did you strangle them, Jesse?
Terrible. This is in Oklahoma, Queen mob in Oklahoma. So this kid gets, I just, this is why I continue to say, no, like we don't have a justice system. We have an injustice system, right? And we have to get fired up against this injustice system that we have in this country. This is what I've been talking about. If you ain't got the money, if you don't have the right resources, if you don't have the right network, and also in his case, because I'm going to go ahead and say this too. Here's another thing to think about. What if Jesse was a black teenager? What if Jesse was a black teenager and he had those 10 felony charges? Is he walking free? I would say not. And let me tell you why. One segment in my documentary is an interview with Mac Hudson. Mac Hudson was one of the people that was a part of the new rule to start charging 17-year-olds as an adult. Mac Hudson was actually innocent and then eventually was able to get out of there. But the point is, that was 33 years later. And you see this kid just walk free. And they got evidence, physical evidence of him. But he just walks away. This kid will end up hurting someone else again. You could tell by the look on his face. We're going a little bit more here.
So this complete 180 on punishment for this apparent sexual predator, as you can imagine, has caused quite the outrage in the city of Stillwater. And now across the world as the story spreads. There are calls for the judge who approved this plea deal, Special Judge Susan Worthington, to be reprimanded, to be removed for okaying this. And even the state's legislature could possibly be getting involved here. Oklahoma State Representative Justin J.J. Humphrey appeared on Ashley Banfield's show on News Nation this week, and he is fired up.
Okay, let me show you this, because we got to go back to the judge. Another woman. Ladies, you see how this works? The person who allowed this to happen was a female. Not a guy. The judge isn't a man. Surprise. That's why when people say, well, women have their groups, they have their female solidarity. I'm like, no, we don't. No, we really don't. We ain't got it like that. I wonder how much she was paid to make that decision. Wonder if somebody slipped her some money under the table. These things happen to make the decision that she made. So no, we don't have a justice system. We have an injustice system, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you share this story with your friends, your family members. More people need to talk about it. And more people need to be fired up about it. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.